Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. And good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and the viewers on Party Grenada and Go to Fet Facebook pages. This morning, my virtual guest is Opposition Senator Terry Noel. This is the first time he is on To The Point, so I'll think about going a little easy on him this morning. Good morning, Senator Noel. How you do?
Thank you very morning, and good morning to you, Blossom, and thank you very much for the opportunity for being on your show. As you just said, it's the first time I've been on, and I'm happy to be on. And let me say good morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Matnick, and also the Grenadians in the diaspora. Good morning to everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start with a look back at your time since you've been appointed a member of the Upper House, since you've been appointed as Senator via or one of the appointments by Opposition Leader Honorable Tobias Clement. Over the past, I believe it's about 8 months or so.
Yeah, somewhere wrong.
Oh, my calculations are correct. You go, girl. Mm-hmm. Right. So over the past 8 months or so, how has it been for you being a senator and the contributions that you've been able to make to the debate in the Upper House?
Well, it's a learning experience. It's first time for me, despite of being around the politics for a little while. Not directly in the front line or directly in, but I've been around in certain circles where politics is concerned. But as it relates to the Senate, it's a learning experience and a first-time experience for me, especially having to do with the first budget, first budget presentation, which takes a lot of preparation and so on. And I believe I've been making some significant and meaningful contribution to the development of Grenada on a whole. And I would say, in particular, from where I'm from, because I've seen myself as one of the ardent supporters of the rural. Some people don't like to use the word rural, being myself too, because I think we would be able to, at some point in time, we might be able to be compared to maybe the city areas like St. George's and so on, looking for holistic development. That's what I'm looking for. So I've been pushing a lot for St. Andrews, and like I say, rural development, where it pertains to agriculture, agro-processing, and so on, as well as other things, just a holistic development for the area. Speaking about the Maribor Princess Alice Hospital and so on, where I'm from, which I think have been receiving enough attention over the years, and among other things that I would have been making some little contribution in.
How did it come about, your appointment as the opposition senator? How did you, for lack of a better phrase, link up with Mr. Clement to be able to get this opportunity?
Well, I know the Honorable Tobias Clement quite a long time ago. It's been a long time where he knew my family very well. I know him very well since I've been visiting Petit Matnick and Carriacou and Petit Matnick since I was a little boy. And both him and my brother, who was a pastor at the time, still is, were very close. And the truth is, we once lived in the same house when I was in secondary school at that time. Mr. Tobias was attending the college at the time. And so we lived in the same house for a short period of time, and then we departed, and I haven't seen him for a long time, which I did a little traveling. He himself did his traveling and studying and so on. And we had, been around the New National Party for a very short little time, which I worked on part of the manifesto in the last 2018 manifesto. So I would have seen him around there for a little bit. And hence the reason I think we had a little connection, owing that, we know each other family very well and so on. And then that's how I received the call and, took the opportunity to make a meaningful contribution in the Senate where the politics is concerned, in the Upper House.
Was it a difficult decision for you to accept the offer? What was the discussion in your head with family, friends before actually accepting?
No, I don't think it was because owing to the fact that I've been around the politics, like I said, so I've been involved even before I left Barbados, before I moved back to Grenada where I was studying. I studied history with political science. So the mere fact that I studied political science is obvious that, that's the direction I think I would have been heading in. So I'm grateful for the opportunity from him where I could get involved and serve and so on. So the opportunity, being involved, it wasn't a very difficult decision for me to make. The fact too, let me just say, because prior to moving back to Grenada, I started writing articles even since from there. One of the articles I wrote while I was in Barbados before I moved back to Grenada was looking at the Maurice Bishop former residence, where I was advocating for the refurbishment of the original house of the former comrade Prime Minister Maurice Bishop, which I was saying that it is good we could make a link with that, which is our heritage and part of our history, linking it to the tourism. The fact that I believe tourism is a highly competitive venture, because you have every country in the Caribbean buying for the same thing, same tourism business, but you have to look towards something different where you could attract people. And the fact that Grenada is one of the only country, I say in English-speaking Caribbean, we're in the English-speaking Caribbean, we're the only country that was able to wage a revolution. And if we're able to preserve our revolutionary history, and we could have gone beyond just Maurice Bishop rebuilding the original house, but maybe things like the army camps and so on, and having even something like a war museum. So when the tourists come to Grenada, we have something different and unique that they could, that they could look at and be proud of, and we could be proud of as part of and parcel of our history.
All right, let's look into the issues or the concerns that you have. Earlier you mentioned you are passionate about rural development. So let's first look at the Marylebone Hospital. I know this is one of the areas that you've expressed concern about. What exactly are your concerns with the hospital, and how can the facility be improved?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I've been passionate about the Marylebone Hospital, going to the fact that the point, I live right next to the Marylebone Hospital. It's just a thrown store away. I just walk down the street and right there, is the Marylebone Hospital. When I was a kid, I remember, we go to church on Saturdays and the evening service, we'll pass through the hospital and look at the television there and, patronize a little bit as kids. So the Marylebone Hospital have always been part of my thing. So over the years, what I've noticed, not enough attention has been given to the Marylebone Princess Alice Hospital. And in my view, there is a serious disconnect between, this kind of mentality, which is considered to be a kind of backward medieval mentality with this country and tongue, issue in Grenada. It's part of and parcel of politics, it seems, and so on, and not enough attention has been given to St. Andrews and Grenville on a whole, but more in particular, as I say, to the Marylebone Hospital. What I've noticed during the budget debate, I've noticed that there was only $3 million in terms of allocation that was allocated to the Marylebone Princess Hospital, as compared to over 46 or something $million that was allocated to the General Hospital. And I understand that there's nothing wrong. It is the General Hospital, and it is obviously that the General Hospital will demand more and so on. But look at the vast comparison from 300 million to over 40-something million to the General Hospital in comparison. And there are a number of things there. Even right now, we have the nurses' hostel, which was destroyed since Hurricane Ivan in 2004, still haven't been rebuilt. The main doctor house still haven't been rebuilt too. Maybe that might be a little problem because they might have to build a whole new structure with concern the doctor's house, but the nurses' hostel where the nurses could stay and so on and live comfortably and perform their duties, that haven't been rebuilt since Hurricane Ivan. Imagine that. what I've noticed too, on top of that, is that a single ward, and I mentioned it on a video that I sent, which went viral, a single ward in the general hospital is by far more equipped, well-structured, in terms of human resource and everything of the sort, than the entire Marable Princess Alice Hospital. And of late, I'm hearing that I think the Minister for Hospital Services was talking about decentralizing healthcare and so on. And then right after that, they're talking about additional doctors to the general hospital and equipment and so on. And nothing was mentioned in regards to the Marable Princess Alice Hospital. So hence the reason I felt it was important to address the issues and bring the issues to the people, which I did on one of those social media and so on. I tried to contact one or two of the news networks, which I didn't get to, and that's why I'm happy here now for the opportunity where I could speak to. Added to that, there is you could almost say one doctor, but there's two doctors there, two being in the daytime, one is on the ward, one is in the emergency. So imagine after certain hours, you would only have one doctor in the entire hospital. And that is unacceptable, and I think is a gross disrespect to the people of St. Andrews and the surroundings. And one have to be also mindful that the Marable Princess Alice Hospital provided service for a vast section of the population, which is not only the big parish of St. Andrews itself, but people from St. Patrick's and some people from St. David's and also from St. John's, because some people from St. John's find it easier to have access most of the time, maybe in the night and so on, to come to the Marable Princess Alice Hospital rather than going to the St. George's main hospital. So these things are very much important and needed, and I think the authorities need to address the issues there in a serious way. Added to that, let me add to that, there's the ultrasound there. That is just there is no technician to operate the ultrasound, so people from St. Andrews and the surrounding have to travel all the way now to St. George's to have an ultrasound and so on, which is, I mean, in this modern society, things are still operating in that kind of backward way. It's just a gross disrespect to the people from the rural areas and St. Andrews. Also, there is the X-ray machine, which, by the way, wasn't provided through government. The X-ray machine was given to the Marable Princess Alice Hospital from the Benjamin Foundation. They were the ones that bought that machine and donated to the Marable Princess Alice Hospital. Right now, one of the parts in the X-ray machine, they have some problems, and up to now, it hasn't been replaced as of yet. I did see the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health spoke on the issue after the video, which, by the way, I thought was pretty good, because it seems as though they're going to address some of these issues. But having recently checked on the situation, it appears though nothing much has been done since. So I'll keep on pressing on this issue, because the hospital is dear to me. Like I say, I live right next to the stone throw away, and hence the reason why I always speak in it, which is healthcare in the rural areas is very important for the development of our state.
What about the overall development of the constituency, of the parish, a matter of fact? What are some of the things you think really need urgent attention in addition to the hospital facility? Some of the things that St. Andrew representatives, government, even community members need to tackle, need to address?
Well, I've noticed the roads. We need serious roads. The roads are deteriorating in a serious way. As you know, we live in a farming community too. So I cannot ignore the farmers. We need access to lands, proper farm roads, and so on. Even in my area where I live, we're talking about the Claboni Road, which leads to the Sulphur Spring in my area, as well as the Montpure water resource area. And tourists usually travel to the Sulphur Spring on a daily basis when things are normal. And that road has been one of the worst roads in the constituency, or maybe possibly in St. Andrews. Over the years, I've never seen any significant work was done on it. They did, I think the people who have the business up in that area, which is in Montpelier, did make some complaint at some point on I think it was on GBN or so, and they did throw some binders and so on. But this is just temporary. By throwing binders before the rainfall, everything has just washed away, and it is a disaster again. However, though, I saw they did have it in part of their budget presentation, so I'm hoping that they address this Claboni Road issue. That this is a serious issue there in terms of that area, which also could be linked to tourism and so on. Like I say, a lot of tourists usually traverse in that direction. And there are other things. Unemployment is still an issue in my parish as well, as you know, the rural areas. But is expected, the pandemic, a lot of people are home at this point in time. And I hope government find a way to address some of these issues in terms of the high unemployment among youths, especially youths. So we need to, they need to address the issues of putting the youths to work, or involved in certain programs that they have, and some of the things. As well, there'll be one or two little social issues, but that's about it now. I would like to, able to highlight and so on.
Mentioning social issues, the 4% saga continues among our public officers and teachers. What's your take on it, the opposition's take on it, on the current situation, and how can this be fixed so that all parties involved can be happy or close to happy?
Okay, well, I could speak on it from on behalf of myself in terms of the 4%. I am in solidarity with the unions and the workers of this country. I support them. I believe that they should receive the 4% increase that was lawfully due to them. I believe that the government should, especially at this time where the pandemic and people are out of jobs, it's almost like you giving a little incentive to a certain extent, because these people are actually taking care of other people. Remember, people are living in a household with people who would have left have no jobs at this time, or lost their jobs, and these people having to hold the strain and to take care of others within the household. So the little monies that they have, and with the inflation being so high now as it is, it's even more difficult for them. So I think I support the union, and I support the workers in terms of the increase. With things are going up sky high, inflation continue to rise, and people's salary are remaining low. And I believe it seems as though in Grenada we have some of the lowest salaries in this hemisphere, I think. And that was always a concern for me if we are to develop in a serious way. And I know the government has been saying that they don't have the money now and so on and all this. But the action of the government is what's a serious concern. And I think what is frustrating the workers even more, they're making them uneasy, because you see the government is telling you on one hand that they have no money and they cannot pay right now. But on the other hand, they are doing the actions of the government, like the repurchasing of the Grenlec, which is would cost them over $300 million. Because as we know, they incur the debts that the Grenlec would have owed, and even other things. They have to purchase the engines, maybe about 3 engines, and then you have to fix the poles need fixing and so on. So in all the costs, and you're talking about legal fees for the lawyers and so on. So in all, you'll find that the government would spend over $300 million. And when you're talking about, despite it is capital expenditure, which you're talking about, and recurrent, the difference. But if you do the maths, they may well be able to look at $300 million may well go over 2 years of payment for the teachers and so on. And not just the Grenlec repurchasing of the Grenlec, but you have things happening like the rehiring of appointment of Alexander Noel, who is supposed to be, working along with the Prime Minister or advising the Prime Minister and so on. And these kind of big jobs come with perks and so on. I don't know, I wouldn't be able to tell the salary and so on. But, and to me, this is really just a political job, which is really to enhance the politics in the South. I think that's what this appointment is all about, which is something for political gains, not really in a serious way to develop the state in any way. Because, what I think somebody like Alexis-Welsh could advise a prime minister who's been in the office maybe over 30 years. They also went on to take loans like the airport loans again. And the truth is, I have no problem with development. I offer development and all that. But my problem with the airport loan is the timing of the loan. I don't think it is necessary at this time, and that is not our priority. Our priority is to deal with the people and the issues affecting us and put money in the workers' hands so that they have a little bit more disposable income so they could alleviate the strain in terms of the high inflation that affecting people in the country with high prices and so on. So we're seeing that the airport loan, again, right now it is not needed because not much traffic coming in. A more progressive government to me would have done probably something of the sort, upgrade the airport maybe sometime before, because the truth is we have other Caribbean countries which did some upgrades on the airport. I think Barbados, Trinidad, Antigua, and a couple other countries. And then I remember St. Vincent was in the process of building the international airport. So much so that when Dr. Ralph Gonzalez delivered the feature address during the NDC time, when we were renaming the airport here, we did mention that they're building an international airport. So I thought that a more progressive thinking government would have done the necessary things then to upgrade the airport. But you can't come and tell me now when we have one of the biggest pandemic on our hand and things are so difficult that you're finding monies now over $177 million from the Exim Bank and an additional $45 million, I think, from the World Bank. The loan from the Exim Bank, I think soon after the construction is finished, you have to pay back for that loan right away. The loan from the World Bank has a 10-year moratorium at least. So maybe they probably will have to renegotiate this loan because look now, the government, the airport cannot create enough revenue to even maintain itself. And you're talking about you going and take a loan to upgrade at this moment when things are so difficult. The government are just made to understand that the government is giving $1 million to the airport in order for the airport to run every month. So there already we see the problem. I think one of our main economists, I think Dr. Patrick Antoine had mentioned, had warned them similarly on this same scenario that would have happened here now. So we're seeing right now that the government is paying $1 million per month. How long, they will be able to maintain that for until the airport thinks that it come back to normal. Again, the issue of all these are happening while workers are asking for the 4% increase. And the traffic light, again, is another thing which we're talking about, another $30 million. And I'm saying all these things are needed. And I have like I always say, I have no problems with development. I remember when the traffic light was first introduced, so I think I just had not long finished school. And there some of my peers was against it. And I was saying, that's crazy. I'm for development. I think that we need to have these things. But like I'm saying, I'm all for development, but is it timing? We need to put our resources where it is mostly needed now. People are suffering and people are hurting. And the traffic lights, we was doing without it until now. We could well hold on and deal without it for a little while until we prioritize what we're supposed to do and put our resources where it's well deserved, so people could alleviate the strain on people within the society of this country.
On that note, Senator Noel, let's take a break and then we're going to come back and continue the discussion as well as get some questions from our viewers and listeners. This is To the Point with Opposition Senator Terry Noel. We'll be right back.
Grenada Grenada's Chief Medical Officer has ordered that all confirmed positive COVID-19 individuals, their contacts, and members of their household must remain in quarantine or isolation for 14 days. Anyone who fails to comply with this order will be in breach of the Public Health COVID-19 Regulations 2020 and is guilty of an offense. Upon summary conviction, that person will be liable to a penalty of up to $10,000. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Fresh off victories in the T20 and ODI series, the West Indies, under the captaincy of Craig Brathwaite, now turn their attention to the two-match test series. It's international cricket, West Indies versus Sri Lanka. First test, March 21st to the 25th, and the second, March 29th to April 2nd. It's cricket, lovely cricket, live on Classic 105.5 and 105.9.
Broadcast of the CG Insurance second test, West Indies versus Sri Lanka, is made possible by Republic Bank, Camahorn Medical Center, Grenada Electricity Services Limited, Quartz, Grenada Limited, Caribbean Alliance Insurance, and Spice Isle Imaging Center.
Greetings. This is Eugene Gattuso, and I'm inviting you to join me every Saturday morning from 10 to 12 on K105 starting March 20th as we bring you the brand new program, Grenada's Music to the World. We'll be featuring music from all genres by Grenadian artists at home and abroad. If you're a Grenadian artist and would like to get your music featured on the program, please send it to grenadasmusictotheworld@gmail.com. Celebrating our own Saturday mornings 10 to 12 Classic Radio beginning March 20th. See you then.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands.
Welcome back to The Point, speaking with Opposition Senator Terry Noel. And it is at this point in the program we're going to invite our viewers and listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns for Mr. Noel. This is your opportunity to ask them. The landline number 435-2041. The WhatsApp number is also 435-2041. Please only written messages on WhatsApp. And you can also post your comments, questions, queries, concerns on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page and the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. Let me go to one of the early comments or questions that I got on the WhatsApp. Senator Noel, somebody on WhatsApp is inquiring, or let me start over. The Senate is an arm of the state, a lawmaking chamber. Why does the senator not draft the proposed legislation and have the state budget, pay, and house for his office in the Houses of Parliament? Yeah, that's a question. Asking MNIB to provide an office sounds like begging when the Constitution gives his rights as an arm of the state.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't get the first part, sorry.
The first part was asking why not draft the proposed legislation and have the state budget, pay, and house the office at the House of Parliament.
Oh, okay, the House of Parliament. Well, we had moved a motion in Parliament, which is to do, well, that was to do with the parliamentary office. We did that motion was also moved in the lower house, and we moved it in the upper house, which we find the members on the other side being in total opposed opposite to what we were saying, because we were saying that what happened is we found that the parliamentary office, maybe sometime when the New National Party had regained all the seats, and for the first time again, had moved the parliamentary office from within Parliament, which that's where it's supposed to be, and put it under the Prime Minister's office. However, we had made some noise about it, and we have a minority in the Senate, and we didn't get much traction with it. They complained and they said that's the way they have to do it in order to get certain things to people and so on, which is actually, the truth is illegal. The truth is, the state is paying for the parliamentary offices. So you have taxpayers' money that have been used to pay for political work. And these are some of the things that we are highlighting. Nevertheless, we ask them that they would return the parliamentary office under the parliament. However, since then, they haven't done anything in that direction. And by the way, which I was told, the only country in the Caribbean, possibly, that's doing have the parliamentary office under the Prime Minister's office, which is wrong.
Let's go to our first caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you, Blessing. What I want to find out from why do we go in and spend money to fix that traffic light down at the junction of Grandans, the traffic light in Grandans?
Okay, thank you.
No, my reason why, because the people move there freely.
And that's the one next to the shopping complex, the Grand.
Yes, no problem there. Everybody stop, call one another, and that's just waste of money there. I don't know for the rest of the city, but I think about that one there is working okay right now.
All right, thank you. Well, that goes back. Yeah, that goes back to the same point I was making earlier, Blossom, which is spending unnecessarily. And these are the things that are aggravating and upsetting the workers, because things are continue to get more and more expensive. And at the same time, these things are not necessary right now. And the government is pushing in that direction, talking about over $30 million to be spent on traffic lights at this time. They never spoke of it all these years that they've been in office, and since they returned in 2013. But now, at this serious moment, which an unprecedented pandemic on our hand, and we're still struggling to come out of it, and people are suffering, losing jobs, we are going to spend money on traffic lights. And by the way, the traffic lights, installing of the traffic lights may not generate much jobs for any Grenadians, as I see it. Most of these jobs is technical jobs that people in Grenada are not accustomed doing. So we may well see some foreign team come in and start installing those lights, and then they leave. And very few, maybe just 2 or 3 people be employed with them, maybe to just like help us and so on, and to drive around. So these are some of my concerns.
A question on the WhatsApp. Would the senator support the idea, or would the senator consider starting discussions for the formation and the eventual elections of a Grenville Town Council on one level to address and oversee the development of the town and public services of Grenville?
Yes, I would say that I would actually support that. Maybe even something like local government. I know there's talked about in Carriacou as well, and the local government. Maybe that we don't have to go exactly in that direction on the mainland, but I believe Grenville has been totally neglected over the years in terms of what I'm seeing and the development that I'm seeing happening. Because the truth is, there are 1 or 2 developments that are happening around the country. I'm seeing massive housing project in St. David's, as well as hotel and so on stream building. When I look at St. Patrick's, I'm seeing hotels, I'm seeing housing projects, I'm seeing multi-million-dollar road projects from I think from Pointsfield all the way up to Surtees. They just I just looked at some of it when they lay the asphalt on the Kugu Bale Hill and so on. So there are a couple of things. Again, the breakwater project in St. Patrick's, but I'm yet to see nothing at all has been done, which is the second largest town in this country. I haven't seen any project of significance since 2013 from this new government. And this is a gross disrespect, I think, to the people. And that speaks to a lot of our representative. I think that we have some of the worst representatives over the years. Hence the reason why we're seeing things happening in St. Patrick's on those areas. These representatives, they are actually working in their people's interests. But you don't even see our representative even in the town. And people stay by and says nothing about it. But it is a serious issue, and I think the people of St. Andrews need to form some kind of organization like this person is the message said, so that we could look in the interest of St. Andrews in a serious way, and so that the government will start listening to us and give us what we deserve.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Citizen Welsh. Greetings. Let's establish first thing the following. Can your guest hear me? Does he hear me well?
I'm hearing you.
Very well. Listen, greetings to the political fray as a member of the so-called Senate. My question is as follows. Are you aware that the so-called constitution that establishes your position as a so-called senator has never, ever been made into law? Are you aware of that?
Well, not to my knowing.
Oh, it's not to your knowing. There we go. Well, hallelujah. I want to recommend that you do some research so that the next occasion you come around, we can speak a little more about it. Thank you very much and have a nice day, will you?
Thank you, Citizen Roller. Let me go to WhatsApp. Somebody on WhatsApp is inquiring, are you free to ask tough questions to those in authority, and can you ask them to respect the court decisions and signed agreements to pay public officers and teachers? Also, the 4 representatives in St. Andrew are of the opinion that they are solid, but yet that parish has some of the most vulnerable people and worst set of roads, etc. The doctors and nurses in the district are working very hard, but yet they are not given proper equipment. So how do you see that parish with those elected women?
That is the problem that I realize, and like I say, I think the other parishes, and let me say, in comparison to St. David's, mind you, St. David's only have 1 representative, and yet still we're seeing so many things have been done there. There is only, you could almost say there was 1 representative in St. Patrick's. Now they just made because Boson, Honorable Boson, is not a minister, but now they just installed someone. But in comparison, St. David's having only 1 representative, and we have 4, imagine that, 4 ministers in our parish, our representatives. And yet still you're seeing much more work being done. And again, being an agricultural base, nothing much has been done in regards to agriculture as well as the holistic development of the St. Andrews as a whole. And I think that is something that people need to pay particular attention to. The representatives are not, representing us as the way they should, and people need to look into it. I think she asked also the question about submitting questions, and we do submit questions when we go to the Senate and so on. And the only thing about it is that we submit questions. The rules are that if it's a question, it has to be submitted 7 days prior to the sitting, and if it's a motion, you have to submit it at least 12 to 14 days prior to the sitting. So we do submit questions, and time again, and the government, the members on the other side will respond, and hence the reason I think we have the diplomatic passports. The names of the people of the diplomatic passport was exposed, because that was actually one of the questions that was asked by the opposition leader, Mr. Tobias Clement, in the lower house, which they produced a written statement of the names of the of the passport holders of the diplomatic passports, and that was exposed. So we are doing our bit, and we are asking our questions, and here and then sometimes they may, respond in whatever way they feel and give whatever answers, and that's what it is. That's how it is.
A WhatsApp question. Have you engaged Minister Delma Thomas, who is Minister for Hospital and Hospital Services, as well as MP for your area? Have you engaged her in discussions about Princess Alice Hospital development? Or any other matter? Have you tried to engage Minister Thomas?
I have not engaged her personally. This is not the first time, by the way, I'm passionate and speaking about the Mervo Hospital, because I did wrote an article about the neglect and so on as it pertained to the Mervo Hospital some time back, which they did respond. Back then, when I wrote that article, she donated some beds to the hospital. The Minister of Health did visit the hospital and assured the staff that they would make some adjustments, and they just made one or two little adjustments, and that was it, and they halted. Again, when I did this last time around, when I did my video and posted it, she did make a statement in Parliament about the whole issue about decentralizing the health services and so on, and that type of thing, and they're going to continue on that vein. The Permanent Secretary did make a statement as well, which giving the suggestion that they would actually do something serious as it pertains to the hospital. However, though, I'm still checking, I'm still keeping in touch, and I'm being vigilant. And so far, nothing is done. So, one wonders if it's just talk, just to appease the populace and to make people feel that they're doing something good for the community by just talk and not doing actually, keeping to their word, as they will say. So, as you know, it is something, and the fact that, which is important, that the Mervo Hospital is within the constituency of the Minister of Hospital Services. So it's kind of embarrassing to see that would persist. I would hope that she do something significantly and seriously in regards to improving the services of the Princess Mervo Hospital. And maybe possibly that hospital could almost become something like the General Hospital. There's nothing wrong with that, because in Trinidad and something, I'm not saying we have all the resources like Trinidad and so on, but in Trinidad you have 2 and 3 general hospitals. The location of the hospital, in my view, is ideal for a hospital. There are even acres of lands, unused acres of land surrounding the hospital there, which belongs to the government and belongs to the hospital itself, which there is room for expansion. Overwhelming room for expansion, to turn it into a much bigger venture.
Another WhatsApp question. Would you support the idea that senators in the upper house should be elected by the population in the general elections, just as members of the lower house of parliament?
I fully agree. I think that is something, a situation similar to the United States, where senators are to be elected rather than just being appointed. So they have to do the necessary work and show the people that they're actually genuine and really want to initiate change to the society and to the holistic development of Grenada, Carriacou, Pitty-Matney. So I personally would support that. I think it's good for democracy and it's good for politics, rather than having to just appointing people and so on for these posts. I think I would support that very much.
Let's take this final caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom. How are you today?
I'm good.
Okay, to the guy. Also, good morning. Directly, St. David is a parish that had the first town in Grenada, and I don't find enough happening in St. David at all. He said a lot happening, not much happening in St. David. If it wasn't these people come to build this hotel and hoping to build 2, I don't know what would happen in St. David, because there's a lot of wasteland there and nothing is happening. And 1 representative is not enough for St. David. They need 2. And also, what I see again, the people, the vendors in St. David, they doesn't have a place to sell the goods. They had a place they're selling in, what do you call this place? how do you call it? Anyway, where they were selling the things. They don't even have a toilet, they doesn't have nothing, and they will be the whole day, and they doesn't have a place to sell in Redgate. They don't have a good place to sell. They need a market to sell the goods in St. David's. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Caller? Senator?
Yeah, well, in response, I agree with the caller. I think St. David's is a very big, big area for one representative. It's a lot for one representative to do. I think I would support the idea of having split and having two representatives in the area. But in pertaining to nothing has been done, I'm just speaking of in recent times, I'm seeing a bit was done. As compared, that's what I was making a point on, that in recent times I've seen a bit done in St. David's rather than St. Andrews and so on since the 2013 the NNP came to office. Little roads that was done, my last address there, and the housing, the massive housing project, talking about the hotel to come on stream there, and one or two other little projects. There's absolutely nothing at all happening in St. Andrews in my parish.
Any final comments as we wrap, Senator?
I just want to say to the Grenadian people that they're free to contact me on issues because we are the representative. We are the ones to deliver the message. It's not about us or about me. They can feel free. On my Facebook is Terry Noel. They could contact me with issues and problems. Once it's issues that could be raised, then we will raise it in the Senate. Able to submit a question to the Senate or submit a motion, as well as how I see it is not just about Parliament and Senate, as well as could come on your program and speak and and articulate on behalf of the people, so that Grenada and Carriacou and Pitty-Matnick would be at the end result a much better place, and our lifestyle will be much better, and that's what we are trying to deserve, yearning for.
Thank you very much, Senator Noel, for being our guest this morning. Appreciate it. How was your first time on To The Point? Wasn't bad, ain't it?
Wasn't bad.
Making sure. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Look forward to future discussions with you as well as other members of the opposition. Mr. Clement still has not accepted our invitation to appear over the last year or so. So hopefully you can, encourage him to come back to the program in soon time.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Have a good day. Enjoy. Stay safe.
You too, Blossom. Take care. Bye-bye.
Opposition Senator Terry Noel, our guest this morning. We thank him so much, and thank you, our viewers and listeners, for tuning in to The Point. We're getting ready now to start the broadcast of the second day of the second test between the West Indies and Sri Lanka. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow morning, God willing. Have a good one.